What's going on, everyone? So, ton of reports coming out, and a lot more are going to come out between now and the February 6th trade deadline. But consensus is that Rob Pelinka is active in trying to work out some type of trades. They obviously want to evaluate Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, who's expected to return soon. Don't have an exact return date, but probably in the next week or two is my guess. But they want to kind of evaluate them, kind of get an idea, because again, if like Jared Vanderbilt comes back and he looks great, well then maybe you don't need another perimeter wing, right? So maybe you're not going and looking at like a Cody Martin or something like that. Maybe you can kind of take your assets and your resources and go get, that guard and that center, or maybe you're getting those guys anyway, but you were looking to kind of add, like I said, a Cody Martin. So now it's like, okay, well maybe we can get a higher end guard, right? Like, just give the Lakers more flexibility, more options, also with the rotation and stuff, right? Also could make, Vando's really good. Well, that could potentially make Rui more expendable. I know rival executives have talked about Rui not being available, but I think that's just posturing. That's just me. We will see. But point is, Rob Pelinka, I do expect to make some other move, if not moves. Rob Pelinka has said himself that he knows that it's probably going to take multiple moves to really get into contention status. That as soon as they got done with the Dorian Finney-Smith move, saw that, hey, Lakers are not done, right? This is supposed to be the beginning. And Dorian Finney-Smith was a big pickup, really has impacted and changed the scope of this team. But you traded away the biggest asset you had outside of picks and stuff, which was D'Angelo Russell and his expiring contract, which is fine for me. A lot of people I've seen kind of be like, that was silly to. No, like, you got Dorian Finney-Smith for undervalue, and on top of that, you got the toughest piece. The hardest piece to get is a 3-and-D wing. I mean, look at every team in the league right now is trying to get Cam Johnson and these other guys, right? So the fact that the Lakers were able to get and secure that guy is why you gave up D'Lo, right? So, and you see the impact, you see the role. The center spot, I think, is probably the easiest. It's just there's very limited, and then the guard spot, it's just which one is the right one for the Lakers. But beyond that, it's like, okay, well, what other assets do they have? Well, apparently, the Lakers have some very coveted picks. Apparently, the Lakers' firsts are highly coveted, as it's put. So, according to Jovan Buha, not all draft picks are created equal in the NBA. When it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers, the general belief is that they boast high-value picks, according to the Athletic's Jovan Buha. People want the 2029, 2031 picks just because of the uncertainty around the Lakers' long-term future, Buha said at the 31-minute mark in Monday's episode of the Buha Block podcast. That's his YouTube channel. So, Lakers have been heavily linked to guys like Nikola Vucevic, right? Recently, especially him recently. But also guys like, Bruce Brown, Kyle Kuzma, right? Like, you've had a lot of these guys that have been linked to the Lakers. And, of course, everyone's going to try to get the most from the Lakers. Everyone's going to try to get, first or multiple firsts or whatever, right? Because every team wants to fleece the Lakers, right? However, a lot of these trades probably won't even take a first. Right? Like Nikola Vucevic supposedly can be had for seconds. Bruce Brown supposedly can be had for seconds. My curiosity sparks where who is it that value these picks that high? Right? We know Danny Ainge does because he's said it publicly that he believes that the Lakers picks are the best on the market. Now, a lot of teams, I'm sure, kind of have that idea, because the idea is like LeBron's retiring in probably 2-3 years tops. Anthony Davis is going to start a decline at some point, and they don't really have anything else, right? Like, I'm not really concerned. It's the Lakers. People were screaming, oh, enjoy, your last moments with the star and Kobe, because as soon as he leaves, that's it. You're not going to have anybody, blah, blah. And it was like, 2 years later, LeBron came. It's the Lakers. Somebody else is going to come. In 2026, there's like 4 or 5 like young stars that become available that the Lakers could easily. Trae Young is one of them, who he's been heavily linked to the Lakers for like years now, right? Like, another star will come to Lakers. It might not be Hopefully it's within Anthony Davis' timeline, but it might not be. But eventually another star is going to come. Now, is it before those picks are conveyed? I mean, that 2029 pick, you're talking 4 years from now. The 2031 one, talking, anything can happen. Lakers could be the best team in the league at that point. Right? They could also be the worst team in the league at that point. So it's a risk. It's a gamble either way. But to me, it just depends on, like, okay, which teams are about. Because, like, if it's the Nets, like, if the Nets really value and view the Lakers picks as, like, super high, can we get Cam Johnson? Can we get, like, a Nick Claxton? If it's, like, Utah, can we get Kessler and, like, a John Collins? Right? Like, if teams value the Lakers picks more than some of these other teams, that could be to our advantage. That could be something that really kind of moves things, right? Like, the thing is, though, I want the Lakers to trade the picks, but I want them to trade them for guys that make sense, right? Like, Dorian Finney-Smith, you didn't have to trade a first. You were able to get him for seconds. If you can get a Nikola Vucevic for 2 seconds, why would you trade a first, right? Like, no, you trade the 2 seconds. If you can, then, if you can get a Bruce Brown for a pick swap rather than a first, why would you trade the first? Trade for the pick swap. Now you still have those 2 firsts, right? Because now you could still have those firsts for that when that right trade does come along, right? I want to see the Lakers still continue to remain patient, right? But this is good, right? Because if teams really are valuing the Lakers picks, and now you have that kind of sample to point to, right? You have that theme that you can go like, hey, we didn't have to give up a first for Dorian Finney-Smith. We give up 3 seconds. We're going to give you a first for, a 34-year-old center, or a Bruce Brown he's been hurt all season. Like, no. And he's expiring, he can leave. Right? Unless it's like some like big move, unless it's like something that makes sense. Right? Like, I would trade a first, for Walker Kessler because it's more about now and the future. Right? It's a guy that like would make the Lakers tough now and the future, right? If with some of these younger guys, like, again, Nick Claxton, something like that, 25, like, I would trade a first for. Like Cam Johnson is good enough. He's worth first. So if you can do first, million things, right? So to me, I think it really boils down to you have your thing that you can point to, a Dorian Finney-Smith trade, right? So you have kind of that to go, hey, look over here. You have teams that, assuming that these reports are true, actually have or view the Lakers picks as valuable. So that's a pretty good spot to be in, right? Like, because it's like, okay, well, what kind of higher tier guys can you get in these type of deals? Right? Because, again, most of the guys that are linked to the Lakers shouldn't cost a first. Right? Like, again, Vucevic, Bruce Brown, Day'Ron Sharpe, right? Like, a Malcolm Brogdon, Jonas Valanciunas, a Robert Williams, right? Like, even a Jeremy Grant, I don't think should go for a first. Right? Maybe Kyle Kuzma, okay. I think you could argue and justify that. Obviously Cam Johnson, right? Walker Kessler. There's not really any like guards that come to mind, unless obviously if like a De'Aaron Fox or something like that becomes available and the reports are true, right? Like, so to me, I want to see the Lakers continue to remain and be patient. I want to see Rob Pelinka continue to remain and be patient, right? Because teams are going to try to gut you. And if you're foolish enough to make the move to unload, a first or multiple firsts for a guy, then they're gonna take it. They're gonna jump on it. But my hope is that, maybe something will develop either this season or in the off season, which a lot of things could end up developing. I'm not saying don't upgrade the roster. I'm not saying don't go make other moves or anything. But what I am saying is that, like, don't trade the first if you don't have to trade the first. F them picks all day, including Sunday, right? F them picks. But you don't just trade a first just to say you traded a first, right? Like, again, you were able to get Dorian Finney-Smith for 3 seconds. Why would you give up a first to go get Dorian Finney-Smith when you could trade him for 3 seconds? Right? Same thing. If I can buy a car for $10,000. Why would I give the guy $50,000? Right? It makes no sense. The only person I'm ripping off is myself. So it's kind of my thought process here, right? You made a great move in the Dorian Finney-Smith trade, right? Your patience paid off so far. Can't stop here. You can't just be like, okay, well, we got Dorian Finney-Smith, that's it. No, you have to continue to push and get another move or two. You still have a month between now and the trade deadline. If the reports are true and there are teams that really value the Lakers as high value picks, that's great. That means that, one of these teams, you might be able to get something of substance. It might even be a guy that we're not even thinking about. It might even be a guy that that hasn't even been linked to the Lakers, right? That all of a sudden comes out of left field. We've seen the Lakers do that several times. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Do you think no matter what, trade the picks regardless? Do you think that the Lakers make other moves? Do you think that, no, that's it, they're going to stand pat the rest of the way? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it either way. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.